Disneyland doesn't have anything like it. They don't even have one at Disney World. It's called Avalanche Run, and it's new this summer only at Cedar Point. Avalanche Run. It's an Olympic bobsled on wheels. Ride it this summer at Cedar Point, the amusement park.
Next time you get bored with life on Earth, leave. Disaster transport. New this summer at Cedar Point.
For nearly 3 decades, a unique thrill echoed through the shores of Lake Erie. A ride that defied convention and evolved with time. What began as Avalanche Run, an open-aired bobsled adventure, transformed into the mysterious and dimly lit world of disaster transport. This coaster became more than just an attraction. It was a piece of nostalgia, a cherished memory for those who braved its winding path. Yes, as with all things in amusement park history, time would eventually call for its farewell. As the 1980s unfolded, Cedar Point was on the hunt for its next major thrill, a ride that would not only diversify its growing coaster collection, but also provide an experience unlike anything else in the park. With the rise of steel roller coasters and the industry's push for innovation, Cedar Point's management turned its attention to a relatively rare and unconventional ride type, the bobsled coaster.
Enter Intamin, the Swiss manufacturer known for pushing the boundaries of coaster design. Their Swiss Bob model offered something unique, a trackless, free-flowing ride experience that mimicked the winding, unpredictable motion of an Olympic bobsled as it raced through a trough. Unlike the rigid, high-speed layouts of traditional coasters, this design provided a more fluid, dynamic ride where cars coasted freely through the turns, guided only by gravity and its momentum.
Though little is documented about other ride concepts that were considered before settling on Avalanche Run, it's clear that the park's decision was rooted in a desire to stand out in an increasingly competitive amusement industry. The 1980s saw parks across the country introducing groundbreaking attractions, and Cedar Point, already solidifying its status as a coaster capital, was eager to continue its legacy of innovation. A bobsled coaster, with its unique movement and rarity in the amusement world, seemed like the perfect addition to the park ahead of the curve. Avalanche Run was poised to be fresh, exciting experience, adding a new dimension to Cedar Point's offerings. But, as history would later show, its initial design was only the beginning of a much larger evolution, one that would eventually lead to a complete transformation of the ride itself.
On October 19, 1984, Cedar Point officially announced its next major attraction, Avalanche Run, a 3.4 million bobsled coaster set to debut in 1985. The concept of a bobsled coaster was still a rarity in the amusement industry, and Cedar Point fans were excited. With its prime location along the Lake Erie shoreline, the ride was set to offer great views and a new ride experience. Questions did remain. Would it live up to Cedar Point's reputation for rides, or would it offer a more family-friendly experience? However, excitement soon turned to impatience as delays pushed back the ride's debut.
After months of anticipation and delays, Avalanche Run finally opened to the public on July 1st, 1985. With its crisp white and blue color scheme and an alpine-themed station, the ride was designed to transport guests into the heart of a high-speed bobsled adventure. From the moment riders boarded their individual sled-like cars, they were met with an experience unlike anything else at Cedar Point. A free-form descent that mimicked that of an Olympic bobsled run. The ride setting, complete with simulated snowdrifts and scattered pine trees, which kept the illusion of racing down an icy mountainside.
The absence of a fixed track added an element of surprise to every ride, as no two rides down the slopes felt the exact same. Guests welcomed Avalanche Run with enthusiasm and curiosity. It was different than the steel and wooden coasters of the time. Many praised its uniqueness, and at the time, Avalanche Run felt like a worthy addition to Cedar Point's ever-growing collection of attractions. While Avalanche Run initially delighted guests, it wasn't long before significant operational challenges began to emerge, many of which stemmed from its exposed location along Lake Erie. Cedar Point's decision to build the coaster near the beach gave riders stunning views, but it also subjected the attraction to harsh environmental conditions that would ultimately impact its long-term reliability. One of the biggest issues was the sand and debris. Powerful winds coming off the lake would regularly blow sand into the ride's troughs, interfering with the flowing movement of the bobsled cars.
Even small amounts of sand buildup could cause disruptions, slowdowns, or erratic movements. As a result, the ride required frequent closures for cleaning and maintenance. Crews had to regularly clear out the troughs, sometimes multiple times a day. On particularly windy days, Avalanche Run would remain closed for extended periods or even all day. Beyond the sand problem, the unpredictable movement of the bobsled cars, one of the ride's selling points, also became a source of concern. Avalanche Run's freeform motion meant that weight distribution within each car affected how it navigated the trough.
While the ride itself wasn't a failure, it was becoming increasingly difficult to maintain, raising questions about whether a long-term solution was needed to keep it viable in the park's lineup. These mounting challenges would eventually lead Cedar Point to make a bold decision: a complete transformation of the ride experience, turning Avalanche Run into something entirely new.
Disaster transport. New this summer at Cedar Point.
In 1989, Cedar Point announced a $4 million renovation project which would transform Avalanche Run into an indoor roller coaster experience for the 1990 season. This decision wasn't just about shielding the ride from the elements, it was an opportunity to give the attraction a dynamic, thematic overhaul, something that was becoming increasingly popular in the theme park industry. The bobsled concept, once a nod to the Olympic-style racing, would be completely reimagined as disaster transport, a high-tech, futuristic space transport mission.
The process of enclosing the ride was no small feat. A massive show building was constructed around the existing track, with darkened interiors that would allow for special lighting effects and immersive set pieces. The enclosed structure not only solved the sand and weather issues, but also allowed for a more controlled ride experience, eliminating the unpredictable speed variations that sometimes affected Avalanche Run.
With the transformation came a completely new theme and storyline. Instead of racing down a snowy mountainside, riders would now embark on a space cargo transport mission gone awry. The queue and the station areas were given a sci-fi aesthetic, with space station-inspired designs, futuristic lighting, and audio effects that heightened the sense of adventure. Disaster transport wasn't just an operational fix, it was a chance to create an entirely new experience for Cedar Point guests. While the renovation addressed many of the original ride's challenges, it also brought about new limitations and expectations. Disaster transport was no longer just a coaster, it was an immersive attraction. This meant that it was now judged by a theme and storytelling as much as its ride experience, and its success would depend on how well it could balance thrills and immersion.
Throughout its operational years, disaster transport experienced various changes and challenges. The initial thematic elements, including animatronics and detailed queue designs, deteriorated over time due to maintenance challenges and environmental factors. A significant flood damaged many of the ride's thematic components, leading to a gradual simplification of its storyline. Despite these setbacks, disaster transport remained a fun attraction for many guests, offering a unique indoor coaster experience that contrasted with Cedar Point's mostly outdoor ride offerings.
The ride's new identity was centered around Dispatch Master Transport, DMT, an intergalactic shipping service. Riders weren't just thrill seekers anymore, they were space couriers tasked with delivering cargo to a remote station in Alaska. However, as with any great sci-fi adventure, the mission would quickly take an unexpected turn. The queue experience set the stage for this off-world expedition. Guests entered a dimly lit, industrial-style facility complete with futuristic props, control panels, and robotic figures that hinted at the high-tech nature of their mission. Monitors throughout the queue provided mission briefings detailing the objective and warning of potential hazards. The setup was designed to make guests feel like they were stepping into a living world, rather than just waiting in line for a coaster.
However, while the concept was ambitious, execution proved to be a challenge. The enclosed structure's poor acoustics made it difficult for guests to hear and follow the storyline. Many of the narrative elements, broadcasts, warnings, and mission updates, were drowned out by the general noise inside the building. As a result, some riders never fully grasped the plot, and what was meant to be an engaging space transport mission often felt confusing and disjointed.
Despite these storytelling challenges, disaster transport stood out as one of Cedar Point's most unique attractions. Its dark, enclosed setting made it an outlier among the park's open-air coasters, and its futuristic theme provided a different contrast to the western area on the back there and the boardwalk-inspired aesthetics found throughout the park. Even though the narrative may not have fully connected with every guest, the ride's distinctive presentation and sci-fi atmosphere gave Cedar Point something different, a space adventure among a park known for record-breaking roller coasters.
By the early 2010s, disaster transport faced declining popularity and increasing maintenance demands. On July 29, 2012, Cedar Point announced the ride's closure, with its final operation day on July 29, 2012. The decision was part of a broader park initiative to make way for new developments and maintain Cedar Point's status as a premier amusement destination. The announcement elicited mixed reactions with longtime fans expressing their nostalgia and newer guests showing anticipation for upcoming attractions.
Following the demolition of disaster transport, Cedar Point unveiled plans for Gatekeeper, a wing coaster designed to redefine the park's entrance experience. Opening in 2013, Gatekeeper featured a unique design where riders sat on either side of the track with unobstructed views, providing a sensation of flight. The coaster's keyhole elements where trains passed through narrow openings added to the thrill and spectacle while entering the park. Gatekeeper's introduction marked a new chapter in Cedar Point's commitment to innovation and guest excitement.
Avalanche Run and disaster transport will always hold a special place in the hearts of Cedar Point enthusiasts. From the novel outdoor bobsled experience that offered unique twists and turns to the futuristic, enclosed sci-fi adventure, these rides were distinctive attractions that added to the park's rich history.
Although the ride isn't physically present today, the memories forged on these coasters continue to resonate with fans. The alpine thrills of Avalanche Run and the intergalactic journey of disaster transport embody the spirit of Cedar Point's willingness to innovate and evolve. Both rides may have been short-lived in their original forms, but they remain part of the park's legacy, a reminder of a time when Cedar Point embraced both the natural world and the limitless imagination of the future.
We hope you enjoyed this trip back in time with us here at Ghoster Coasters. If you liked the video, go hit that subscribe button and give it a thumbs up. A huge shout out to all of our channel members and Coaster Ghosters out there. And of course, as always, thanks for being a part of our spooky community and for Coaster Ghosting with Ghoster Coasters.